Welcome back, brothers and sisters. In today's video, I'm going to share 6 Grimdark ideas for a new D&D character you could run. We've got a bard, a barbarian/fighter, a monk, a rogue, a wizard or a sorcerer, and a cleric. And these are all a commission paint job and kit bash job. I actually made these using a bunch of different bits and prints from some of my favorite 3D sculptors. I'll link them down in the description. So I will plug as well, if you're interested in getting something like that from me as well, be it for an adventuring party or a monster mini or something, reach out to me, DM me on Instagram, or email me at reverend.father.doom@gmail.com. I would love to work with you. But let's get into the ideas. Don't forget to pay your hobby tithing and leave a like, and let us pray. Character number 1 will be the bard. This is Galileo Moonclaw. He is a hag-cursed bard who can perform miracles on and off the stage at the expense of his mortal vessel. He is slowly mutating himself into some sort of monstrosity in his quest for fame across the realm. So this is almost like a mix between a bard and a warlock, I imagine. You have made this deal with a hag, maybe because you have no real talent at all. You have no ability to play musical instruments or act out, perform some sort of beautiful show for anybody until you made this deal. And you can see he's got this like big crab claw arm. Maybe like when you open it up, I imagine like all the gross ooze or whatever that's between the claws maybe forms the strings of a harp that you're able to play and pluck. Or with this giant claw, you're like playing your lyre or your fiddle or something. And maybe it's sort of the thing where whenever you critically fail a performance check, or if you critically fail one of your bard spells, you suffer a new mutation and something changes about you. And when you reach a certain number of mutations, maybe based off of your charisma modifier, like if you have a +5 in charisma, you can go up to 5 mutations and then you just become a monster. That would be a really fun mechanic for your GM to work with. But yeah, like what is behind his mask? I think that's really interesting for your other party members to wonder about. And the little bell I think is fun for like Toll the Dead, or that's your little performance, right? You're just dancing around. Next is the fighter, or the barbarian. This is Narco Ribshank. He is a shockingly nimble fighter who can slip his blade between a rib as easily and as gracefully as he can rip them out of your chest with his bare hands. Just like punch into a chest, snap a rib, and pull it out. And my idea, well, first I'll note, you can see these like little white things here. You can't tell in the picture, but those are actually rib bones that are coming up off of the scabbard that I added there. And then I was imagining these were maybe just horns, but now as I'm saying this out loud, like obviously those are rib bones that he's pried out and put on his helmet. And my vision for this character is somewhere in the realm of like Conan the Barbarian, right? Incredibly violent, incredibly strong, but on the like dexterity side of things, maybe he also can carve beautifully intricate murals or etchings into these rib bones. Like they depict the battle that you fought when you claimed that rib bone. So every enemy you fight, you are going to take one of their ribs, either with your bare hands or you're going to cut it out with your blade or something. And then you take the time during your rests or whatever to use your whittling tools to carve out that legend. And so when your body falls in battle, someone will take your rib bones and will be able to tell your story upon them, along with all of the bones you've collected of your conquered, vanquished foes. Character number 3 is our monk. This is Gaul the Silent Fury. He is a flagellant monk whose voice will be returned to him only once the tongues of the like 1d6 heretics have been cut out and returned to his monastery. So he has committed some sort of sin, I imagine, or maybe that's just part of his order. Every monk has their voice silenced so that they must focus purely on going and silencing those enemies of their monastery. And only once they've accomplished that will they be get their own voice back and be able to hear their words and spread their doctrine or whatever. And you can see he's got this like claw hand thing. I think that obviously looks like something you would use to like pry a mouth open or hold a jaw open so you can pull out the tongue. But I also think it would be cool to work it into how he fights. It's a lot of hooks, like grabbing somebody's leg by their ankle and ripping with this thing and knocking them prone, or spinning them around, or grabbing a weapon and disarming people. It maybe also helps him like climb and swing from things. So a lot of his fighting style is built all around this clawed hand that is maybe the tool that he is trained with to accomplish this mission he has of cutting out the voices of heretics. And maybe they're not even just heretics. Maybe they are like Ronin type characters, or people who have betrayed the monastery and have fled out into the countryside, you are the one who has to track them down. Character number 4 is the rogue, Condor Sheathbeak, a very performative assassin type character who is more concerned with flaunting the kill and the glory that comes with that in hopes of attracting like more high paying clients than the actual like killing itself. And this idea was inspired by the idea of a condor or a vulture, like scavenger type birds who swoop in after the kill has already happened or after all of the real violence has occurred to pick at the scraps. How that could translate to this character is you, very roguish, you're hanging out in the back, you're letting the rest of the party do most of your dirty work, getting the enemy whittled down, and then you, maybe quite literally, swoop in like a condor to deliver the killing blow in this very grandiose way. And very similar to a bard as well, you are boisterous about your abilities. You are constantly, maybe you put up your own wanted posters. That could be kind of fun. You want people to know or think that you are one of the best, most trained killers out there, even if you can't necessarily live up to that reputation, because being a vulture, being a condor, or whatever, you are okay, maybe at the beginning of the campaign, of using the rest of your adventuring party to make up for your weaknesses and to kind of carry the weight of this reputation for you. Character idea number 5 is Gaboon Fangtongue, a crazed wizard or a sorcerer who is so obsessed and enthralled with the lethal beauty of the viper or the venomous snake that they are preparing to transmute themselves into a giant venomous snake. Now, that could be through their own magics, their own miracles. They are studying transmutation to become that. Or, if I were to run this character, I would probably have them be the servant of a Naga. That is your mentor in the campaign. That's the one who is teaching you all of your magics. And that is what, like, you hope to serve them indefinitely. You want to ascend outside of your own mortal flesh, or hey, here's an idea, shed your mortal skin and become a Naga yourself in service to a snake god or something like that. And a few notes on the mini, he's got this cool big snake looking staff that I imagine sprays out poison clouds and things like that, or can shoot out snakes. And actually thinking of that too, on his back he has these big metal tankards which maybe are either filled with your own alchemical poisonous potions and things like that, or, more interestingly, what if they literally are just filled with a swarm of snakes, and that is what fills your wand with its magics. That's what allows you to, when you hit a creature with your staff, you have an ability to maybe poison them on a melee attack. But if you suffer a critical hit, I think it could be very fun that there is a chance the tankard busts open and releases that swarm of venomous snakes. And our final character is Yugo Maromine, a dwarven gravedigger turned cleric whose holy calling, their mission, is to delve deep into the earth where martyrs or members of their dwarven clan have met their end and give them a proper burial. Pretty honestly, like, straightforward quest or a mission. It's nothing super grandiose. It's just, if you come across a corpse or a skeleton, you cannot leave it until you have given it the burial it deserves. Now, maybe so that you're not constantly disrupting your party and kind of being a speed bump in the story, you have, like, in your pack, you carry the remains of those unfortunate souls that you stumble upon. Maybe, like, see the skull he's holding. I imagine that was like a lantern or something. But I think it could also be cool of, like, you don't necessarily need to bury the entire body. You just have to bury part of them. So just like if you've seen, like, in old churches in Europe, they have, like, the femur bones or the skulls of old saints and things like that. Maybe that's kind of what you do. You put blessings upon those remains when you find them and take one of the bones to honor that person's legacy. And during your long rests, that's when you do a little ceremony and you bury them all in the same place. And just as part of your clerical magics, maybe everybody you bury, those are the souls you can call upon to perform your miracle magics and do your necromancy spells or your healing spells and things like that. I love that idea. I think he's probably my favorite one of all of them. And that is the whole 6-man adventuring party that I kit bashed and sent off as the commission job. If you're wanting something like that, I said at the beginning, reach out to me. I will just say here, though, for transparency's sake, it's not super cheap. This 6-man party was $400, but I take a lot of time and kit bash each individual mini so that you'll never see one exactly like this anywhere else. There's always like head swaps and swapping an arm for something different, adding on a bunch of little bits to really make them feel like doomed martyrs that live in my world that you can bring to life at your table. But if you want just a monster or a single character, we can also talk about that. So reach out to me. But outside of that, don't forget, leave your like. And also, the Dune Stronghold Kickstarter campaign is coming up, launching in February. I did a video about it already, sharing 6 city stronghold ideas, so you should go check that out, learn more about the project, and you can follow the pre-launch page at the link down in the description and snag kind of a discounted early bird backing tier. But outside of that, thank you all for watching, and we say these things in their unholy names. Amen.